Welcome everybody. How's everyone doing today? Yeah, okay. So please feel free to take a seat. We want to make sure you're comfortable. There's no wellness unless you're actually sitting comfortably, right? And since we're at one of the best wellness events today, why don't we just warm up a little bit? Is everyone okay with that? Sunday morning, I know we got started early. So let's all stand up for a second. And I know, we're standing up. And let's just shake it out. Shake your hands up and down a little bit. If that does not seem very familiar, we definitely have to do it. You can cross your hands a little bit. And the other way. A little up and down and up and down. Okay, and relax. We'll do a few spinal twists. Okay, just turn to the side and the opposite direction. And this time come back to the center. As you breathe in, take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just turn to the side and make a light ha sound, okay? Ha. Come back to the center, breathe in. And as you breathe out, you can close your eyes if you like to. Say ha. Breathing in, one last time, left and right. Breathe in. And as you turn to the other side, say ha. And your last breath, breathe in. Breathe out, saying ha. Excellent. Okay. If you really want to warm up the room now, turn to the person on your left or your right or your front and back, and don't say ha, say hello. Shake your hands and introduce yourself and ask where you're from. If you're with your partner, find someone else, okay? One person in the room that you can find out. Take a few seconds. Either to your left or right or front or back. Just introduce yourself. Amazing. Okay, let's sit down. Just 45 or 50? Okay, so we're pretty warmed up, folks, both in person and as a room, isn't it? Do you feel how there's a change when we actually just take a second to reach out who's next to us? Isn't it? It just breaks the formalness of the whole piece, right? So, I want to make this a little interactive. How many of you are okay with that? Not a lot of thumbs, but let's make it anyway. You can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Is this better? Okay, great. Yeah, the question is, shall we make this a little interactive? No wonder you couldn't raise your thumbs before. So what would you like to know today in this talk? What is coming to you? Okay?
I wanted to find out a little more about the science back portion.
Okay, so someone wants to know the science back portion about breathing. Okay, excellent. Anyone else?
Easy ways so I can just do it daily without thinking.
Oh, Sheila has a great point. So Dr. D is saying easy way to do breathing on a daily basis without feeling it's a chore. Is that fair? Okay, yeah. Anyone else?
What you can do, like, while you're driving.
Oh, what can you do while you're driving? We all have a lot of commute time. Oh, ditto. How to manage stress when you're driving. Okay, great. What exercises for? Oh, breath exercises for COPD. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know what is COPD actually. Okay, if it's a respiratory condition. Okay, thank you. Okay. Breathwork for adrenal recovery. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else coming up to you? How to use it in a moment of anguish. Anger. Yes, how to use breathwork then. Okay. How do you catch yourself? Yes.
Does breathwork help with breathing?
Does breathwork help with grieving? Yes, this is really, really great. This is an exciting audience. Okay. If anything else, or we covered the room? If anything else comes up, you can raise your hand. Okay? Welcome, John. This is really great. So we'll do this in two parts today. Okay? First, I will share a little bit and try to cover as many questions as I can that we all went through. And then we'll do an experience of breathing in a guided state of calm or meditation. You guys game? All right. So let me ask you something. What is the first thing that you do when you're born? When you sort of slide your way into the planet, right? All of us came out of our mothers. So as soon as we come out and the doc pulls you out, what is the first thing you did? Cry? So breathe. Exactly, isn't it? And what is the last thing that we do before we take off? Breathe. Sorry? Breathe out. So you breathe in when you land, and you breathe out before we exit, isn't it? So when we breathe in, when we land, we cry, and everyone's really happy. Hopefully, when we breathe out, we are happy, and people are crying, and that it is not the other way around. Just imagine if you cry when you leave, and everyone's happy you left. That's not a good situation. Isn't it? Yeah. So, and the entire life that we live between these two breaths, our perception of this life is entirely between this first breath we breathed in and the last breath we breathed out. Isn't that right? Did we ever think about it? It's pretty fascinating, isn't it? And throughout, between your first incoming breath and the last outgoing breath, your relationship and your ability to continue your life on this planet is through breathing. The moment we stop breathing, if it becomes the last breath, then we have exited the planet. The body stays, but you in your body leaves. Isn't that quite incredible, right? So it's always under the nose. Your connection is right under the nose to this planet, to this life. Yet it is probably one of the most underrated way of being able to connect and heal. Do we know how many liters of air we breathe in a day? Sorry, I grew up with like the ISI, the metric standard, so I don't know the gallons version of it, but let's take a guess about the liters. We breathe in and out 10,000 liters of air every day. And any doctors in the house? Yes, we have Dr. D, yes. So, and forgive me for not knowing the exact anatomy of it, but I think it's fibrilloli that are in the lungs, these little things that actually absorb when you breathe the air. If you were to lay it on the ground, it would be as wide as 2 tennis courts, right? So these are the cells that will actually take the oxygen in when we breathe in. So we are an incredible machine as a body walking around the planet, constantly breathing in and out, right? Now, we also need to understand, as Reena was very beautifully sharing, when we come across a sickness or a condition, what is actually happening to us, right? It's called a dis-ease. What does that mean? If you look at the word, what that is it moves you away from ease. When you're thriving with wellness and health, so we are at ease to move through. And the very word dis-ease means that we are not at ease and we are at discomfort. Isn't that right? So, and why does that happen? It largely happens because there is an imbalance that is created in our physiology, in our body, which starts manifesting, and we start looking at, this is not easy, this is not comfortable for me to maneuver through life. Isn't that right? How many of us ever felt sick in our life, even if it's a cold or a cough or a major surgery? We all have been through, right? And what are you looking at the point? How can I come out of it? So dis-ease is because of a cause that has happened before. It is because of an imbalance that has happened either in our life or lifestyle that is manifesting at that moment as uneasiness and discomfort. So one way to fix it is to go back and say, when I'm not well, I will do it, certainly. And then the smarter people will also say, can I do something about not even getting it to begin with? Right? If you want to be healthy, it's a plan that you can have. No guarantees though. I've seen people who ate the healthiest food and did the right things, but still they ended up having diseases. And there are other greater reasons for that, right? Like the things that have happened much before when we decided to, and we have to deal with that. But that's okay. So when we are facing with disease, there are the great sage Patanjali, who's the propounder and father of yoga. He talks about how there are 3 levels to it. The first is at the body level, which is because of yoga. Excuse me, the first is actually at the level of the mind, not the body, but the level of the mind. If you have clear thoughts, pure thoughts, and comfortable thoughts, then you will gate any negativity coming in to you to begin with, right? And the second level is the feelings. And how do we create good feelings within us, or more importantly, to others? It is through speech. Nowadays also through text or WhatsApp, isn't it? But isn't that true? When someone actually speaks or says very nice things to us, pleasant things to us, words of love, and we well up. The same happens to you. When you say really beautiful things, you create good feelings in others, right? Versus we say things that are not nice, and we could create stress. We could harbor disharmony in others, isn't it? And the last is actually the body. So when the thoughts and the feelings are not quite, I want to say, positive, they accumulate in the body complex and manifest eventually as disease. So now the question is, we wake up in the morning and we're going around doing our thing. I choose to be positive, I choose to be pleasant, but I come across stresses, people, things, etc. So how and what can I do when I come across them, or when me meets all of them? How can I purify myself? Isn't that right? It's like you wake up, you take a shower, you go out about your day, but you come back and you feel like you want to take a shower once again to clean your body. What can you do to clean your mind? What can you do to cleanse your feelings? What can you do to cleanse your inner you? We brush our teeth 2 times a day, but do we brush our mind at least once a day? So it turns out there's an incredible connection between breath and mind and feelings. The very same connection that keeps you alive on the planet as you move also is connected to how you can feel and how you can actually think. Here's an example. We'll do a quick pop quiz, okay? So, how do you breathe when you're feeling really happy? Slow. Okay. Is it long or is it shallow? It's deep. Unless you have trauma. Great question. That's another point. Trauma can be healed through breath too. And how do you breathe when you're very stressed and anxious? Fast and shallow, right? So if you notice, there's an experiment that was conducted many years ago where scientists measured, they did a wonderful experiment. They actually did the first set of people, told them specific things, and asked them how they're feeling and measured their patterns of breath. And then they came back for the second set of folks, told them to breathe in a certain way and try to understand how their thoughts and emotions were feeling. And they recognized that it's actually a two-way street. Every thought and emotion has a particular pattern in your breath. So the question about when we feel angry or when we are feeling stressed, how do we breathe, is first to become aware that you're angry. The second is to not fight your anger, is to be okay with the awareness that it's okay, I'm angry. That's half the battle won. And the third then is to be able to bring your awareness to your breathing. So how do we breathe when we're angry? It goes really fast, isn't it? At that time, if you have the awareness to say, I'm going to breathe in slow, take one long deep breath in, and then breathe out, you will notice that the breath will begin to affect your state of emotion. And because it changes your state of emotion, the emotional regulation will start changing the state of your thoughts, and thereby the actions that you can take. Right? I think Jeff Bezos said, I read this just the other day, there are 2 types of decisions. Some that are reversible and some that are not reversible in life. Type 1 and type 2. Most decisions are actually reversible. Most decisions in life, you can go back. And there are some that are irreversible. For the irreversible decisions, it's really important that you do not take them under high emotional stress. Isn't that right? That's a wise thing to do, isn't it? There's a reason why people become successful. Now, we're doing okay on time. Now, the other piece is, okay, Naveen, we can go ahead and take a deep breath in, but what can I do on a daily basis? All right? Do you know how much capacity of our lungs that we actually use while breathing? Any guesses in the house? 10%? 25%? Yeah. We use less than 30% of our capacity in breathing. Then that begets the question, what can we do to breathe better? There's this little single muscle that all of us have. It's called the diaphragm. And it actually helps you breathe deeper in and out. Do you all want to try some of the breathing? Okay. Am I okay for your camera? Okay. So we'll do what is called yogic breathing. So you take your right hand and put it on your belly. and without any judgment, you can close your eyes. Take a breath in and notice if your belly is expanding or if it is going in. When you breathe in and you breathe out. This time, as you breathe in, allow the air to go into your belly, expanding it. Your hand can start coming out. Breathe in and breathe out. And notice as you breathe out, your hand can go inside. Let's do this a few times. Breathing in, and your stomach expands. The air goes all the way in, and as you breathe out, your hand goes inside, exhaling all the breath. Breathe in a little bit more. And breathe out, letting the hand come in. Now allow the breath to go in its own rhythm. This may feel a little new and even funny, but that's okay. Give yourself the permission. You can relax your hand on your thighs, both the palms on the thighs facing the sky. Breathing in. Continue breathing deep with your diaphragm. Breathe out and relax your breath. We'll go into a guided state of calm. You can choose to follow the instructions as much as you can. If you miss something here and there, because of the noise, that's okay too. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out. Maybe we can take the conversations outside. Thank you. Now take your attention to all the sounds in this environment. The loud chatter, so many different sounds. Do not resist them. Accepting all the sounds. Every bit of it, just let them be. Take a breath in and breathe out. Now you're in harmony with your environment. Take a breath in and breathe out. We'll take attention to our body. Take your awareness to your right foot. You do not need to move it or wiggle it, but simply take your attention to your right foot. To your right calf, right knee, right thigh, your right hip, the entire right leg. Your left foot, left calf, left knee, left thigh, left hip, entire left leg. Both the legs, genitals, tummy, chest, shoulders, your back, arms, neck, back of the head, your face, and the entire body. The entire body. Your entire body. Take a breath in and breathe out. Now you're in harmony with your body. Take a breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your thoughts. We could have good thoughts, positive thoughts, or negative thoughts. Maybe a little irritation or frustration. Welcome all thoughts in, allowing them to come, stay, or leave. Take a breath in and breathe out. Now you're in harmony with your thoughts. Take another breath in and breathe out. Bring your attention to your feelings. Notice if you have pleasant feelings or unpleasant feelings. Without any judgment, allow both pleasant and unpleasant feelings to arise, be there or drop. Take a breath in and breathe out. Now you're in harmony with your feelings. Take another breath in with complete acceptance to the environment, body, thoughts, and emotions. Breathe out. You are peace. You are joy. You are love. I definitely do not recommend closed-eye driving. What I would recommend is the breathing that you did, where you place your hand on your tummy. It's called yogic breathing, and you will train yourself first bringing your awareness. If when you breathe in, is your tummy expanding? Is your hand coming out? Or is it going in? It's a 101 breathing technique. It's as simple as that. Not very difficult to do, isn't it? Yeah. And you notice as you start doing it, you'll be able to expand your belly even more. And you'll be able to use your diaphragm even more. We notice when we are stressed and we can't breathe well and we feel knotted in the stomach. Anyone familiar with that? Right? And the exact opposite is what happens when you put your hand on your tummy and you start intentionally breathing in to allow the breath to go very, very deep. Yeah? So this is yogic breathing. Any breathing is great breathing. And there is some advanced breathing techniques that have a very deep physiological effect on your body, right? There are a million kinds of breathing techniques. One of them is called the sky breath that we do in the art of living. Now, why is and how is sky breath different? Is because not only does it help you in regulation of thoughts and emotions, but it has the capability to cut through even memory, your intellect, ego, and get you connected to your source of self. So we were talking about how when there is trauma or when there is grief, and if breath can actually help you in that, yes, it can. What is trauma? What is grief? It is because these memories are stored so deep within us that they get triggered or they cause emotions and thoughts. It talks about how it helps over 37% increase in calm and little less than 25% reduction in anxiety in 6 weeks. In fact, when clinicians, doctors and nurses and healthcare providers did this program during COVID, they were diagnosed with almost clinical levels of anxiety. And by doing this sky breath, they've noticed how it has brought it down by more than 25%, right? Just 10-15 minutes of breathing, which you can learn in just a matter of 3 sessions across 3 days. Reduction in insomnia. How many of us have, out of 5 days in a week, we think we sleep really well? There's very few hands in the week, in the room, right? So many of us are having a hard time sleeping well. Research showed how sky breath is very powerful because especially as we age, we have a hard time sleeping well. It's because the sleep architecture of the brain is not well preserved. But research shows when you do sky, the sleep architecture of the brain comes back well together, or it's preserved better, so you tend to sleep well. What that means is you go into deep sleep, that is sleep state cycles 3 and 4, very easily. You have REM sleep. And what matters in sleep is not about how long, though it does matter, is how much time you slept in deep sleep. That's really when the recuperation happens. And sky breath helps you achieve that. There's also, Reena talked a lot about the stress hormone, cortisol. There's almost a 60% reduction in the stress hormone cortisol. So imagine your day, you wake up, you do, we have a few sky breath practitioners in the room, right? We have Shilpa, Meera. So when you spend 15-20 minutes doing this breathing, you're flushing out your entire system and getting rid of the cortisol, and you're ready to take over the world once you stand up and you're going about your day. Or you could do it even towards the end of the day. Let's say you have an early start in the morning, you go through all the stress of the day, you come back, and this can be your way of flushing out the entire stress. Increase in social connection in 4 weeks and reduction in depression. There are people who also reported how they were even, this is not medical advice, full forewarning, but people have had reduction in the number of pills that we're taking. We had a research study in veterans who were, some of them were taking more than 10 pills per day, and they have had a significant decrease in their dosage or even doing away with some of the medicines. So it's a very, very powerful technique. And we can go to the next slide. Thank you. It's been published on JAMA. JAMA Network is a very, very reputed medical journal. It has been published there. Actually, in fact, the effect of even on healthcare professionals. If we go on to the next slide. And these are furthermore graphs about how just the baseline before training and how depression came down after training, and it stayed very well even after 2 months, right? And similarly, anxiety has come down significantly, and it stayed better even after 2 months of doing it. Same thing with stress. And if you go to the next one, how it helps in professional fulfillment, which actually has an increase. Work exhaustion has a decrease. Disengagement and burnout has a decrease as well. You can go to the next one. And this is a little bit more related to healthcare professionals who are very, very scientific, who talk about how is this helping in burnout. Burnout typically creates three things. One is emotional exhaustion. Second is depersonalization. And the third is what we call as personal accomplishment. And this is something that's prevalent in all of us, right? If we're doing the same job and we're getting very, very burnt out, we feel emotionally tired, isn't it? And if it is a repetitive thing that we have to do, especially with people, then the next person whom we have to take care of becomes a number than a person, depersonalization. And the third is we do not feel fulfilled, even though we're working very hard, right? So we're not feeling a professional fulfillment. So these are the three things that get hit, and it shows how scientifically there are ways to measure it, and it can improve that. If we go to the next one, so just in healthcare itself, there are 15,000 of them who did it. You can go to the next, about many, many institutions, including Stanford. Actually, we do this for the campus kids in Stanford, and we're doing a grant now. We're applying for a grant where we can do this for faculty as well. This has been done at some of the top institutions such as Harvard's, Mass General Hospital, Kaiser Permanente, Akron Children's, etc. I will be available for further questions in booth number 23 after.